Hey everyone! Today we're going to talk about what makes a great brand strategy. Welcome to Invincible Innovation Live. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Mazor, Kario, product innovation and value creation expert, and I'll be your host. And I have a very special guest with me. Hi, Chloe.
Hi, lovely to join you today.
Hey, and Chloe Williams is the founder of Eighth Day, and it's like the second or third time that we talk. And we already had a discussion I think like half a year ago, and it was great. So I'm sure it's going to be really interesting. We're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, and you're so invited to join the discussion and ask questions. And now we can start. So we're talking about brand strategy. So what makes a great brand strategy? And could you give us some examples? Everybody knows like Apple, Nike, but other than that,
Exactly. Yeah, I think when we're working with clients and we're looking at great examples of brand strategy, the ones that are really successful are the ones that are really simple, really clear. And I think that's really important if you're a global brand because you need to translate that into local languages. So if you've got a team where English is their second language or it's originated in another language, having something that's really simple that everyone can remember and get behind is really important for consumers, but also for employees. And I think what we find quite a lot is the most successful ones are those ones that really tap into something that we can all feel happening in the world today. So something that's going on in society and culture, a tension or emotion that really transcends geography that we all feel as people. And that's, what makes a great strategy. And I think the other thing is something that's going to last 3 to 5 years. A brand strategy shouldn't be for the very short term. It should be something that the brand can commit against for a number of years, and it's really about the brand creating the vision of the future they want to see. So rather than being driven by what's going on in the world, it's about what does this brand want to stand for in 3 to 5 year times? And then really you have to ask yourself, as a brand, have we got permission to talk about this? Emotionally, functionally, can we deliver it credibly? And I think the other thing with a lot of clients when we're assessing brand strategy is it big enough to run multiple campaigns? So if you think about the communications you need to run off a brand strategy, you're looking at, twice a year for some brands having a big campaign idea. Is the idea big enough that you can use it for multiple campaigns? And I think in today's world, can it also go across multiple touch points? So can it work online, in store, and in virtual worlds? So those are kind of some of the overarching principles. But to
yeah.
your point about examples, I think you mentioned Nike there, and I do a lot of work with Adidas, and they have a positioning which is about sport has the power to change lives for the better. And I think that's a really interesting one because it's about this idea of evolution, which really anyone can connect to, but it also taps into mental and physical well-being that you can feel in society at the world today. And another one that I love is Johnny Walker and Keep Walking. And you think they've had that brand positioning since 1999, but it's evolved. So in the beginning, it was really about personal progress, personal evolution, keep walking. But recently, they've evolved it to kind of tap into the more collective mentality we have today. So this idea of keep walking and progression is about helping others around you also progress at the same time. So they have a great brand strategy, but they've also managed to evolve it as well without needing to change it. And then one of
Yeah.
my favorite examples is a really old one, which is Dove Beauty. That was all about real beauty and it was held up as one of the best brand strategies. And I think what's interesting when you look at that brand today, at the time, it really tapped into culture and something that women really wanted to feel empowered to own their bodies. But today it's really fallen down. You don't hear so much about it. It's kind of dropped back. And then you get brands like Rihanna's Fenty, which have come out and they talk about real beauty, but in a way that's much more modern. It connects to a much younger target. And that brand, when it started, was all about diversity, diverse skin tones, diverse body shapes, showing real people. So it's interesting how you can take one brand strategy and then see how other brands have started to own it in a more culturally relevant way.
Yeah, before I continue, we have one of our viewers, Ayesha. How are you? And she loves the Johnny Walker Keep Walking example. And thank you for being with us. And I want to ask you something. You said like need to be sure that they are allowed to say that or to speak that language. Because in Israel, we see many employers branding because they want to
Mm,
brand themselves as a good company to work with for.
yeah.
And I think that in some cases they're doing things that are not really attached to the way that they are perceived And most people would think that they are more old fashioned and they want to be perceived as differently, and then it doesn't match sometimes. So
Yeah, and I think that's the
what
real
could they
thing.
do?
It's about permission, I suppose, and proof points, because a brand can change, but it has to, I suppose, walk the walk at the same time. So a brand can start to say it's going to be something, but if there's no proof there that it's moving in that direction, a brand can show progress that we're going to start. Do you think sustainability? Brands weren't sustainable, and now they're all talking about it and they're all showing their journey. So I think an employer and a brand can talk about, this is where we want to get to. But if it's just, brand washing and it's just saying things and there's no proof behind it, that's when it feels fake. But if they're doing things and they're trying to change, then you can start to see that they've got, functional proof points in the way they're behaving, what they're saying and doing that can help, give them permission as well.
I think that today to be a very differentiated brand is so hard. We have so many brands in front of us, and you need to differentiate in a way that first it will be remembered, and second you will be engaged with the message. And it seems that it's so hard to create that today, right? We have so many messages, and even if we hear it, sometimes we're cynical. Like, yeah, this is what they're saying, but they're not really like that. They want to be perceived as this way, but they're not really, and we have brands that are, focused in the attention of people against them in some cases. So what could they do, in that case?
Yeah, and I think it goes back to that point about it being long lasting. So a brand strategy should be something you commit to for a number of years, because people need to hear it over and over and over again. Tell them again, tell them again, tell them again, because the messages are so short. We're talking 2 seconds of seeing something. You need to build up that, kind of muscle memory with consumers so that they know what your brand's about, but also seeing it consistently across touch points. So when they go in retail, when they're scrolling on social media, what they see on TV, what they see on ads on YouTube, all of these things need to connect back to the red thread. And that's why you need a really clear, succinct strategy so that, everyone knows what they are doing, connects back into it. And then it's about that repetition so that eventually, in 2, 3, 4 years' time, and we know from innovation, it's hard to get new products to have success these days. If they don't win in 6 months, often they get delisted, and they're removed from the shelves. I think it's very much the same